Hi, student success. Welcome to week 6 of our summer semester. It's hard to believe we only have a few weeks remaining. So before I hop into your assignment video for this week, I wanted to just touch base and let you know that week 1 will be reopening this coming Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can already see the dates, July 10th, 11th, and 12th. That is for anyone who maybe you enrolled a little late during that first week. Maybe you were overwhelmed and still learning Brightspace. Maybe you just missed an assignment. Whatever the case is, you have the opportunity now to go back in and make up work from week 1 that you may have missed during the actual week 1. So you can go back in, get your discussion post made. You have several assignments during that week that were in there. Again, you can go in there and make any of those up. So again, just this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, have that option to make up anything from week 1. All right, so let me go ahead and scroll down. So as I said, we are in week 6. I love when this happens. We're also in chapter 6. So week 6, chapter 6, I encourage you to check out the chapter 6 lecture video that's going to walk you through the information that is related to our concepts from this chapter. So this is all about preparing for and taking tests. That is going to be the basis of your work and the chapter and just the week in general. Chapter 6 test taking, it's not everyone's favorite typically, but it is an important part of the academic process. So here's a snapshot of what you're doing. You have a discussion post, kind of like normal, due by Wednesday for your weekly attendance. You want to respond to 2 classmates by Sunday. You have a chapter 6 assignment, a test your memory assignment, and a how well do you study assignment. I'm just going to knock all these out in this one assignment video since it's all in the same chapter and it kind of flows pretty quickly. All right, so let me go ahead and jump down right to the assignments. Chapter 6 discussion. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up so I can find my prompt. It says down here, in this form, answer these questions in 3 to 5 complete sentences. So you can answer them separately, you know, like question 1, question 2, or just put both responses in one big paragraph, whatever you'd like to do. So it says, what forms of academic dishonesty are most prevalent on your campus? And then what can you do to avoid them in your own career? So something I do like to point out for this particular, move this over here real quick, for this particular question is you may need to go back into your chapter 6 materials. If you haven't spent time in the textbook, you want to open up your textbook link and it is going to talk to you. Sorry, I've got to do a little bit of scrolling here because I was in here and then I closed out already. It is going to specifically talk to you about like academic integrity and making sure that we are taking tests in a way that preserves that integrity. So it's going to have a whole list. I know, again, the other version of this book had like little sections you could go there. Here we go. So it's called section 6.5, The Honest Truth. When you get down through that section, it's going to give you examples of academic dishonesty. It's going to go through cheating, plagiarism, fabrication, obtaining an unfair advantage, aiding and abetting, falsification, unauthorized access. Now, odds are a few of these are probably not going to apply to you unless you are in certain academic areas. The first 5 are probably more prevalent. So cheating is what you would think of it as, like I'm going to copy someone's work word for word, or I'm going to pull things off of the internet, or I'm going to use ChatGPT or Claude or whatever AI model you like to use. So that's a pretty clear case of cheating. Plagiarism then is whenever you are passing off someone's work as your own. You don't quote someone properly. You can also plagiarize yourself. So if you did a paper in the fall and then in the spring you have a class, you're like, wait a minute, this paper can kind of work with the paper I already wrote, and you turn in the same one, that's self-plagiarism. Fabrication, this might not apply to many of you, but it's like if you're in like a science class or a social sciences class where you're doing data, you can like falsify. That's a form of academic dishonesty. Obtaining an unfair advantage, this is when maybe you would use materials you're not allowed to use, or let's say that you have a friend who's taking the same class as you, but theirs is Monday, Wednesday, yours is Tuesday, Thursday. They take the test on Monday, you try to get the information from what was on the test on Tuesday. That's an unfair advantage. And it gives you more examples of that. Aiding and abetting, that's when maybe you allow someone to look up your work or provide them extra notes or an assistance. So those are the most common ones. So whenever you're looking at this post, the prompt for it, it's saying, what do you think is the most prevalent on your campus? So you can use any experience you have on a college campus recently. You can use your high school experience. You can use what you assume would be maybe based on an online environment if you only take classes online. So talk about what you think is most prevalent. Then what can you personally do to avoid them? Can you spend more time studying? Can you reach out for help? Can you ask for assistance? Can you make sure you're citing information properly? Whatever it might be, what can you do to avoid being academically dishonest? So you want to make sure that you post your original response by Wednesday, respond to 2 classmates by Sunday. All right, our next assignment is called our Chapter 6 assignment. So there are 3 kind of components to this. The first thing you're going to have to read is the attached article. So the article is down here. It's called Fake News. It's a rather short read. It's only 3 pages. And honestly, like the first page is mostly all the picture. So when you look at it like that, it's really not a ton of reading. It's like a page and 3/4. So that's the first step, is read this article. Once you've read the article, you are going to choose one of the verbs in this table. You can do both, because some of them like compare and contrast, justify and list. So you can definitely do like a mix and match, but at least one. And you're going to write a short essay question about the article. So what you're basically doing for this is putting yourself in the teacher's shoes. If you had to write an essay question for a test based on this article, it has to be based on this article. I've seen some weird questions that are like out of left field. This is based off the article. So that's why you have to read the article first, then come up with a question that you can anticipate would be asked on an essay test based on the article. So you could say, defend, whatever, hypothesize, or analyze, whatever the question is. So you're not just putting analyze. Please analyze the whatever it is, a full sentence question. Then you're going to answer your own question in 3 to 5 complete sentences. So you're kind of putting yourself in the test maker's shoes, because this is a chapter all about test taking. Put yourself in those test taker's shoes, and then you're going to answer it. So again, make sure that you do all 3 parts of this. Read the article, create an essay question using 1 or more of those verbs, and then answer your own question in 3 to 5 complete sentences. You can definitely do this in just a comment area, or you can upload it as a Word document. That is due Sunday. All right, your next assignment is called Test Your Memory, which we know memory plays a role in test taking. So what you're going to do is you're going to first open up this document. It's going to open up into a PDF. You're going to test yourself and just be honest with yourself, if not for anything, just for fun to see how well you do, because I'm not grading you on how well your memory actually is. So take 30 seconds, look at that list. Scroll down, and then it says, without looking at the list, write down as many words as you can recall. And so you can do this on scrap paper to start with if you would like to, because this is not obviously an interactive PDF. So you can write it down, and then you're going to answer these questions. How many words were you able to remember? So maybe you remembered 8 words. Which words did you forget? Jot down the ones you forgot. And then what techniques did you use? So did you use repetition? Did you come up with rhymes or songs? Did you make connections? Did you do any kind of visual imagery? So that's basically the bulk of how you're being graded. So again, really challenge yourself to not cheat. Really only give yourself 30 seconds to look at those words, because I'm not grading you. You're going to get the same grade whether you remember 2 words or every single word based on how you answer these questions. So that's what I'm looking at, is how are you answering these questions right here, not, oh my gosh, their memory stinks or their memory is fantastic. You're not going to get a grade based on that. It's going to be how you answer these. So again, you can write these in the comment area, upload a Word document as you go through. So just challenge yourself for that. That is also due Sunday. And then finally, how well do you study? It's right in the words of the title. It's one of these we've done a few of these already, where Brightspace automatically grades this. So some of you had trouble during the first couple assignments like this. It didn't record. Take a screenshot at the end if you want some backup. I will definitely, if you always send me a screenshot, be that's fine, that's great that you have that, just in case. Brightspace is not always accurate, or sometimes it takes longer to upload, or a couple people had uploaded the wrong scores. So anyway, having a screenshot of your score could be helpful. So you're just going to hit play.
Good study skills are for the following questions.
And it's going to ask you a series of questions. So basically you're just rating yourself. And then at the very last one, make sure it goes through, hit submit, and that is the How Well Do You Study assessment. All right, so real quick recap. This week you are spending time in Chapter 6. You're going to post your original response to the Chapter 6 discussion board by Wednesday, respond to 2 classmates by Sunday. Complete your Chapter 6 assignment that has 3 parts to it. Remember, read the article, create a question, answer your question. Test your memory assignment, and How Well Do You Study assignment. It's kind of like that little quiz. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And again, please remember that week 1 is reopening this Friday, Saturday, Sunday for you to make up anything there. Have a great week.